Okay, we already have some folks in the room ready to go. Let's see who's here. We've got Patty, Maggie, Kay, Kayleen, Susan, Debbie, Julie, Ruth. Ezra says she's excited for more story. Barbara, Renee, Jeanette. Wow, everybody's here. Hello.
Cool.
Good evening, y'all. I am going to be making everybody dinner while Erin and Anna are in here with you guys. So we're just going to let people get in here for a minute. I wanted to mention to everyone that if you haven't already seen it, I put up a post on the main page today about our Mighty Networks being ready to go.
Very cool.
It is very cool. We're not letting people in to the space freely just yet. We want to do some testing first. So if you are interested in helping us testing the Mighty Network space for like the next 2 weeks, then you can go to the page and find this post here. You guys see that? It looks like that. It's just a picture with a bunch of text. And if you look at the text, you can read about what's going on. So we're looking for testers. I will say that we're pretty full already. Like almost 100 people requested to be a tester already. And so I've filled in pretty much all of the free spaces that are available. And so what we're looking for at this point are people who are either already at a sub level or are seriously considering being at a sub level once Mighty Networks is live, because we need people who are willing to kind of go up and down through the levels and test out the feature of how subscribing works. So if you're one of those people that intends on being a friends level subscriber, if you're already in our $10 a month subscriber group or $5 a month subscriber group, or the $25 a month Patreon group, then definitely, if you're willing to be a tester, we'd love to have you. That's it for Mighty Networks. Really excited because everyone else, you're going to be able to get in there by the end of the month. And yes, the biggest question, is it free? There is a free option, a free level that I hope everyone gets involved in, because the whole point of this is to bring the whole community together into one space where you will get notifications, where there are no spammers, where you can keep up with what's going on and where we're posting no matter what platform it's on. And that option is the base level, and it's all free. So just hang tight if you don't want to be a tester. More information to come soon. Mm-hmm. Other than that, let's see.
Well, there's more information coming right now, actually.
Oh, and the only other thing to say, I guess, at this point, because people are starting to get on, is that if you are watching, do you want to tell them the spiel? Do you have it memorized yet? If you are watching right now from Facebook, we are on both platforms. So we are over on the Tube. Somebody recommended last night we call it the Tube. We're going to try that. And if you would be so kind as to switch over and watch us while we are live on the Tube, we would very much appreciate that, because that will help us out a ton. After we're done being live, it doesn't matter. You can watch from either platform. And yeah, I guess that's it. Anna's going to read some more of the book she started. Was it last week?
Last week, yeah.
Okay. So Anna's going to read some more of the book she started last week while I go make some dinner. And
what's it called?
You guys have fun. And if you have questions, you can certainly post them in chat, but I might not see them until I'm back at out of the kitchen. So, but I will check periodically for questions. Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to let them know what book it is? If they just are
saying. Oh, yeah.
There may be some people who didn't watch last week.
Yeah, so last week I started reading, it's called The Spectrum Girls Survival Guide, How to Grow Up Awesome and Autistic. And it's by Temple Grandin. Like it's
Let's
the
hear the
story of
foreword.
Temple Grandin.
We're talking to them.
Yeah, it's like the story of Temple Grandin, but it's written by some other person that I can't pronounce right now. Yeah, so I finished 2 entire chapters. Let's see how many more I can finish. As I get this horse bookmark that Mommy has. You guys might not have seen this, but Mommy has a horse bookmark for some reason. Very
Cute.
interesting. Yeah, it's cute. Okay, chapter 3. Embracing who you are. When I was diagnosed as being autistic, it came as welcome news. I finally had an explanation for why I struggle with social interaction and have sensory overloads. It's a huge relief to know that my brain is just wired differently, which is why I find some things harder than neurotypicals and find some things easier than neurotypicals. Having a label placed on you can be scary. From one day to the next, people start using labels like autistic, high functioning, Asperger's syndrome, and disabled to ascribe you.
Slow down. Don't read too fast. We can't keep up.
It can feel as if your autism diagnosis is swallowing you and that your past self no longer exists.
Slow down.
I am. Another concern you may have about finding out that you're autistic is that people may not respond well to the news, especially since there is still a stigma and lots of misconceptions about what it means to be autistic. So
Yeah.
how do you reconcile the peace of mind that comes from knowing why you're different with the drawbacks of having a label placed on you that reconcile?
How do you reconcile? That means, how do you make sense of it? How do you understand it?
It says, with the drawbacks of having a label placed on you that carries a lot of baggage. And then the comic.
Do you feel like that people put different expectations or think like they don't understand about your autism?
I'm not sure what you mean.
What?
She's just talking.
I was just asking her if she experienced any of people not understanding when she's
Yeah, definitely, because a lot of even you guys probably when you see someone, you kind of think you think, oh, you're not autistic. So I think it's just there's a lot of misconceptions about it, and there's a lot of things that are wrong.
Hey, babe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want Brussels sprouts and carrots, or do you want veggies from the soup mix?
Veggies from the soup mix. Yeah, thank you.
So then there's this like little comic here. And this first picture, she's like holding like a cape. Or I think it's just a blanket. And it has like all these like papers in it. And they're all like bad things about her. There's
You wanna
like
tell
she's
them?
awkward, she's slow, she's independent, she's not independent.
That's all them.
Yeah, so and then she says, sometimes people talk about autism in a negative way. Or even use my autism identity as an excuse to be mean to me. It can be hard not to focus on all my failures and define myself in a negative way. And she says, now she's shaking out her cape with all the weird stuff in it. And she says, but the truth is, everyone is made up of mistakes, of weaknesses, and strengths. Why should only autistic people have to be defined by their weaknesses? And then she has her cape on and her little mask, and it says, unique, creative, trustworthy. I have lots of strengths that come from my autistic identity. I should define myself by those, and so should you. Being autistic can be like having superpowers. And that says, viewing autistic strength as a superpower. Knowing that you're biologically different can be confusing. Society places
A lot of importance.
Society places a lot of importance on people being the same. I'm a huge fan of the X-Men movies because I identify with them. Storylines have lots of parallels with how the autism community is treated. The X-Men are misfits and outcasts who fight to save a world that fears them.
Yeah, I like the X-Men because they're common. They're different. They're treated differently, but they have special powers that set them apart. So yeah, it's a good analogy. Any comic book analogy is good in my opinion.
Remember that one place we stayed at that had the X-Men book?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Diane sent a super sticker. Yay! Thank you, Diane. We are on the tube. Yes, we are. It's not only older videos at all. You just the first thing that you're gonna see when you go over there is the current live. So you can either open up our page. Here, I'll show you guys. Hold on a second, Anna, because people are having issues. So when you go over to our page, the very first thing you're going to see right there on the page is this live stream. But if for some reason you don't, all you have to do is see this menu right here. It says home, videos, shorts, live. You just click where it says live, and this current, sorry, it's not a focus, Anna, your head. This current live will be the first thing right there. If you just click on live in the menu. So that's all you have to do. Go to the page, and it should be literally right there at the top, either on the live tab or in the home view.
All right, it's safe.
If you find that you're unable to comment, because that seems to be another common issue, then you need to go download the app. You need to go download the Tube app, and you have to log in because the Tube doesn't allow you to comment if you're not logged in.
Just like Facebook.
All right, yeah, just like Facebook. I'm going back.
All right.
Goodbye. You're running away. Okay.
Right.
Where was it? I know what you said. Where?
Oh.
Okay. Their mutation is both a blessing and a curse. The superpowers that they repeatedly use to save the world are the reason they're rejected and fulfilled.
Huh? Revered?
Rejected and fulfilled.
Oh, reviled.
Reviled?
Yeah, reviled.
Reviled?
Mm-hmm.
Daddy, look. R-E-J-E-C-T.
Rejected.
Yeah, that's rejected.
Mm-hmm. And vilified.
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 Yeah, this is what I was asking about.
Vilified, yeah.
Okay, it says, autism is a loaded word. Some people are scared of it. Others may think less of you. At school, I've been called a freak and a weirdo. I have been treated unkindly and have been bullied. In the same way that the X-Men are feared and looked down upon because of their superpowers, we are feared and often looked down upon for our autism. Yeah. The media often makes the problem worse by depicting autism as a scary disease that needs to be cured. Although it can't be cured, it's just...
Yeah.
It could be treated, just like arthrogryposis. It can't be cured, but it can be treated. The deep-seated stereotypes and the negative way in which the media portrays autism can make it difficult to accept your autism. It's really important to stand your ground and to not get swept away by how others want to define and perceive you. One of the benefits of being autistic is that we have many strengths, which I prefer to call superpowers. Here's a list of some of our superpowers. We're honest. We have a strong sense of fairness and justice. We're loyal and trustworthy. We're sincere. We're not judgmental. We're accepting of people who are different. We're kind. We're dependable. We're consensuous. We're creative.
Conscientious. Okay, keep going.
We think outside the box. We're level-headed. We have an unconventional sense of humor. We're logical. We're analytical. We're problem solvers. We're great at entertaining ourselves. That is so me.
Yeah.
If I just go into my bedroom, I can make either a giant pillow fort, or I could make some weird dream house of one of my stuffed
It's
animals.
true. Yeah, you can just go off and just come
Throw
up
some
with.
socks and some dresses
Yeah.
around, and poof, I got
You
something.
got a new world, a whole different planet.
I can go into the living room and set up some stuff and be like, oh, this can go there. Oh, yes, I remember that years ago. Oh, okay, it's perfect. Now I can go in there and underneath this giant unicorn and start reading. Like, so much stuff.
Yeah.
We love learning, and we're focused and persistent. These are amazing qualities that make me proud to be autistic. Understanding your autistic brain. When people say that autistic brains are wired differently, they mean that an autistic brain differs from that of a neurotypical brain. There is an implication that because our brain deviates from the norm, the neurotypical brain, our brain is somehow faulty or inferior. What if this isn't true? What if nature designed the two brains to be different for a reason? The neurotypical brain is optimally designed to facilitate socialization. It allows neurotypicals to interact socially and communicate with ease. It gives neurotypicals the ability to read body language, understand facial expressions.
Slow down.
Yeah.
You're reading too fast.
Your brain's moving faster than your mouth.
Where was I? Oh. Understand facial expressions, subtle fluctuations in tone of voice.
Subtle fluctuations. It means like very small, almost unvisible, unrecognizable.
Unvisible?
Unnoticeable. Unnoticeable.
I mixed together invisible and unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Like, not that they're like invisible, but that you just don't notice them because they're so
Inconspicuous.
Yeah, that's a good one.
She loves that word.
No,
All right.
that is not.
Well, you love it though.
I don't love it.
You sure use it a lot.
Well, it's because we're talking about fun little swords, and it's just a thing that you say.
All right.
Okay, we're a little slower. Says, understand different points of view, hidden messages in a window, and other forms of communication. Whatever that is.
I would agree with that.
On the other hand, the autistic brain is optimally designed to focus on the physical world in much greater detail, to recognize patterns and shapes, to be logical, analytical, and focused, to develop areas of expertise and focus on the understanding the world around us. Although these two brains serve different purposes, they complement each other. Neither is better or worse. The neurotypical brain is designed to facilitate the development of communities and civilizations, and to collectively coordinate human behavior, whereas the autistic brain is designed to allow us to analyze and systemize, and to discern details and patterns that would enable human beings to understand how the world around us works. This knowledge has been used to advance the development of society. Some of the world's most famous scientists thought had to have been autistic, such as Albert Einstein, Charles Darwin, and Sir Isaac Newton. When labels are problematic. You may find that some people like to divide autistic individuals into two categories: high functioning and low functioning. The two categories allow neurotypicals to separate us into autistic individuals who appear to be severely autistic and require round-the-clock care. I really dislike it when people do this. When neurotypicals learn that I'm autistic, a typical response is that I must be really high-functioning. I'm complimented for appearing normal. It's as if they're saying that I'm only a little bit autistic. This underhanded compliment implies that I'm lucky because I can pass off as neurotypical. It also implies that since I'm less visibly autistic, I must have a mild, diluted form of autism that is imperceptible and therefore can only have a minimal effect on my life.
Michael sent us a super sticker, said, "Thank you, Anna, Nana, and Aaron, for further autism awareness."
Thank you!
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Michael.
Thank you for the super sticker.
I have a question, Dinner. Did you cook all of the chicken with the same
Yeah.
coat? Okay.
Yeah. I put the same seasoning on everything. That's what she was asking. All right.
There is no easy form of autism. Being autistic in a neurotypical world is hard. Being an autistic teen girl is even harder. Trying to make sense of all the senseless social mind games that teens play is hard. Trying to figure out what to say and what not to say, what to wear and what not to wear, and what to like and what not to like, so that you don't end up being ostracized and bullied by your classmates.
Ostracized.
Ostracized?
Means like left
By your
out.
classmates, it's hard. Being in constant discomfort or pain is caused by sensory processing issues, and enduring in silence is hard. Dealing with crippling social anxiety is hard. Constantly pretending to be someone you're not in order to try to fit in, it is hard. Just because many of our challenges are invisible and we use all our willpower to maintain our composure doesn't mean that we have a lesser form of autism. Autism is autism. You're either autistic or you're not. Then here's another comment. It says people need to stop using these high-functioning and low-functioning labels for autism. And then for the high-functioning one, she said, I'm happy to be having a good day. When I happen to be having a good day, or I'm in a situation where I'm able to use my strengths, someone will probably label me as high-functioning. That must mean I can do anything and can't possibly have any struggles, right? And then the low-functioning labeled person says the same person might label me as low-functioning if they happen to see me when I'm feeling stressed, or I'm in a situation where my weaknesses are being highlighted. When I get that label, people act like I can't do anything myself. And then this lady says, the truth is that autism is a spectrum made of varying traits, which not only vary from person to person, but also vary depending on the situation and how tired or stressed you are. The autistic brain may be wired differently, but it's still as complex and as a neurotypical brain. And giving us simplistic labels isn't helpful. No, definitely not at all. Okay, it says, I also object to the way that so-called low-functioning autistic individuals are written off. These individuals may be nonverbal and may need 24/7 care, but that doesn't mean they're any less intelligent or awesome. It just means that they need more support. The low-functioning label ignores strengths, whereas the high-functioning label ignores weaknesses. Both are damaging. Levels of functioning can also change over a period of time. There are lots of autistic adults who were once labeled as low-functioning because they were nonverbal as children. Labeling someone as low-functioning can result in other people lowering their expectations of what they can learn and achieve. Professor Temple Grandin was once thought to be unteachable. She eventually went to university and is now an author and a world-famous professor of animal science. You know what they said that about the low-functioning label ignores strengths, whereas the high-functioning label ignores weaknesses. I don't think they should just be labeled low-functioning and high-functioning because I just kind of don't like that way. I want it to be if you thought of it as a square and it had the colors of the rainbow in it, and they were kind of merged together, like it is when you're picking out a color on Canva or something.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just like click up and down wherever you are on the spectrum, and it's not like it's divided in half, so there's one part of the rainbow and then the other part of the rainbow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want it to just be an entire full rainbow where everyone is just, if they're autistic, then they are just considered on the spectrum, and you can just point wherever you are on the rainbow.
That makes sense.
Victoria sent a sticker.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's true, because
Yeah.
there's not, people can have certain things that affect them more, and different people it doesn't affect them the same way, but it's never the same in every single person, just sort of like your arthrogryposis, right?
Yeah.
It's just everybody's different, one person from the next.
Yeah. Like if you, let's say, I'm gonna put my horse in so his head is sticking out. But if you, okay, let's say that you have, here's like a little map of everyone in the autism spectrum. And over here is one side of the map, right? And then you see this is the dividing line. And then here's the other side of the map. What I would do is, if it was in like Procreate, I'd take both sides and I'd merge them together. And I'd put them right next to each other, so it creates a full entire square. And then if you're more nonverbal or verbal, and then you can have up or down, how much support you need, like all that kind of stuff. You would still be like autistic, and you're still in that big giant square of the two rectangles that were merged together. Or the two triangles that were merged together. Or the 4 circles that were merged together. Or the 12 circles that were merged together.
Jamie sent a sticker.
Thank
Thank
you.
Super sticker, sorry. Okay.
Well, should I stop now?
No,
Keep
keep
going.
going to the end of the chapter. I've got things are ready to I'll
Let
finish them up when you're done.
me see how much stuff there's left. There's.
It's okay.
Just
It
keep
doesn't
going,
matter.
yeah.
Just keep reading. People are interested and they're ready for the rest of it.
They
So
want to hear.
This much left is like 20
Wait,
pages.
it's not 20 pages.
They want to hear you read it, and they want to hear what you think about it.
Let's keep going.
Okay. Another objection I have about the use of high functioning and low functioning labels is that they imply that the degree to which we can function is static, that it stays the same. You and I know that this isn't true. We have good days and bad days. On a bad day, I qualify as being low functioning and nonverbal. For example, there have been times when I've had a miserable day at school. If I'm bullied at school, my anxiety will skyrocket. Since my anxiety levels and sensory processing issues are interlinked, I'll have a tough time enduring the usual crowds, loud noises, and fluorescent lights. I'll be in a state of constant pain. By the time I leave school, I'll be barely keeping it together. I may even reach the point where I have an autistic shutdown, which means I'll be unable to communicate, interact, or socialize. All I want is to go somewhere quiet and still so that I can recover. I suspect you've had some similar experiences.
Denise sent a super sticker.
Thank
Thank you.
you. To tell or not to tell? Just because you have been diagnosed as autistic doesn't mean you have to tell anyone. There is no right or wrong answer as to whether you should tell the others that you're autistic. It is a very personal decision. There are benefits and drawbacks to disclosing that you're autistic. It's important to consider all the pros and cons, because once you tell people, you can't take it back. Unless you have magic that you can erase their mind. There are lots of benefits to disclosing your autism. Below are some of the benefits. 1. It makes it much easier to get the help and support that you need. One of the main benefits of letting others know you're autistic is that it helps others to be more supportive of your artistic needs, especially in relation to your sensory sensitivities. and any communication difficulties you may have.
Jody sent a super sticker.
Thank you.
2, it gives you the freedom to be yourself. Many autistic teen girls are afraid that their classmates will judge them for being different and try so hard to pretend to be like everyone else. Pretending to be someone you're not is exhausting. Being free to be yourself can take a huge weight off your shoulders. 3, it allows others to understand you. Since autism is an invisible condition, we are often misunderstood. Sometimes other people view our actions and behavior as strange or perceive us as being difficult. If others know you're autistic, they will be able to understand why you may sometimes react and behave differently to other teens.
Joanna and Karen sent super stickers.
Thank you! The more open you are about your autism and how your autism affects you, the better prepared people will be to help and support you. Now, hold on. Where she said about since autism is an invisible condition.
Wait, where what? You got you
Where
blurted
she
that.
said autism is an invisible condition,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily invisible fully, but it's
invisible if you don't know what to look for.
yes.
To the people, that's why people say, well, I didn't think you were autistic. You don't seem autistic. You don't look autistic. That's because those people don't know what to look for.
Yeah.
They don't know all of the, oh my gosh, hold on. Angel's Touch, Peggy, Jeanette, and Tina all sent super stickers.
Thank you.
Wow, you guys, thank
You
you.
guys are awesome.
So yeah, it's just that they haven't had enough experience with varying degrees of autism to be able to recognize it. But it can seem like an invisible condition, right? If you don't know what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I think that just means that autism is not physically identifiable like your arthrogryposis is.
Yeah.
Right.
Number 4, it helps to educate others about autism. Telling people that you're autistic not only helps you, but also helps other autistic people. If more autistic people are open about being autistic, it will help to change people's perceptions and stereotypes about autism. The more neurotypicals learn about autism, the more understanding and supportive they can be towards the autism community. It says some autistic individuals choose to keep their autism diagnosis private. Below are some of the drawbacks of telling people that you're autistic. 1, people may treat you differently. You may be concerned that others will treat you differently or view you differently. If you're a private person, you may not want to draw any unnecessary attention to yourself. You also can't predict how someone will react. Someone will react.
Mm-hmm. That's why you have to slow down and take your time with each word, so you're enunciating it. Tina sent a super sticker.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Rose says, thank you for reading to us about autism.
Well, I'm probably still going to read you more until this
Yeah.
last little section, and then I'll probably be done with the chapter.
I can actually see that right now. I figured out how I can see it. I can see that right now we have 147 people watching on the tube and 284 people watching on Facebook. So at this time, I'd love to request that some folks that are over on Facebook, if you would please come over to the tube and watch it live on the tube. While we are live, it helps us so much more if you watch us over on the tube instead of on Facebook. Afterward, it doesn't matter, but your view is more helpful while we are live if you watch us on the tube. And James just put the link into the chat for anyone who is willing to transfer. Thank you so much, James.
Thank you. And thank you guys in advance.
Being on the tube. Okay. You also can't predict how someone will react. Sharing your diagnosis may make some people uncomfortable. It may even cause them to avoid you. People may not understand autism. Most people don't understand autism as well as they should. They don't know what it's like to be autistic. There are also still many stereotypes and misconceptions about what autism is. In fact, some people still think that girls can't be autistic. Since I am proud of being autistic, I am generally open about it. However, there have been a few times when I've regretted confiding in someone. For example, last summer I spent 2 weeks at Perimeter Institute's summer program in Canada, where I was born. A theoretical physics program for young physicists. Did I mention that I'm a math and physics nerd?
Physics nerd?
Yes,
Mhm.
that's what that said. It says, on a 5-hour bus ride to tour a dark matter research lab, I sat next to a boy who was really friendly. We chatted most of the way to the lab and most of the way back. Since we had a lot in common, I got the impression that we would become friends. A few miles before the end of our journey back to our dorm, I mentioned that I'm an autism advocate and that I'm passionate about changing negative perceptions of autism. His demeanor immediately changed. We never spoke again. For the remainder of the summer program, he avoided me. It was as if he thought I had some infectious disease. This is not the only time I've been rejected because someone has a prejudice against autistic individuals.
Carol just said, you just helped me understand a lot more about my client. He seems to be shutting down after school, and you just read that that is normal. Thank you for that information.
Wow.
You're welcome. So it says, it has happened a few times. You can take the view that how the person treated you says more about them than it does about you. A person who is judgmental and intolerant of people who are different is unlikely to be a good friend. But no matter which way you look at it, it's still hurtful and disappointing. Telling family members. You'd think that family members would be especially understanding and supportive about learning that you're autistic. If only life were that simple. Unfortunately, even family members can be judgmental and close-minded. Especially if they are older and have antiquated views on what it is to be normal.
Antiquated.
Antiquated?
Means like old school, like antique, not current information views. Annette sent a super sticker.
Thank you. Okay. Says,
Excuse me.
when deciding whether to disclose a family member, I suggest that you take 2 factors into consideration. First, whether it would be beneficial to you for them to know. If you spend a lot of time with them, it may be important for them to know. Second, whether you think they will be open-minded and accepting. If the family member is going to focus on trying to cure you of autism or be ashamed of you, I wouldn't tell them. For the most part, I think relatives are supportive. Since autism runs in families, it is very likely that your family has other members who are autistic, like you, Mommy.
Yeah, and Bronco Austin.
Yep.
And
Maybe
maybe
Mama.
maybe I can think of probably at least one uncle on my maternal side that I think probably would be diagnosed. So yeah, definitely runs in the family.
It says, after I was diagnosed, I realized that I had an aunt, an uncle, and possibly a grandfather who are undiagnosed autistics. Though my younger sister has not been officially diagnosed, we think she's autistic too. So, I'm by no means the only autistic person in my family, and it's very unlikely that you are too. And it says, this lady sitting in her wheelchair, and she's saying, let's debunk some myths and misconceptions about autism.
Misconceptions.
Misconceptions.
There you go.
And then she says, girls like me can be autistic too. And the myth that we're not means we d- and the myth that we're not means we don't get the help we might need. Oh, and not all of us are savants.
Savants.
I'm not a creative or mathematical genius. When it comes to homework, I wish I was, though. And she says, autism isn't a mental health disorder. We just express ourselves in a different way. But that doesn't mean we're unhappy. We're not the product of bad parenting. We are experiencing life in a different way. Learning to adjust to a neurotypical world isn't the same as behaving badly. You can't grow out of autism. Our brains are simply wired in a different way. And then she and this girl are in some weird brace. And she says, autism can't be cured, and it doesn't need to be cured either. Maybe the biggest myth of all is that autistic people are lacking in potential. Just because we do life in a different way doesn't mean it's the wrong way. Drop that idea and look at how much we can do.
Terry and Tata sent super stickers.
Thank
you.
you.
I wanted to say something about a part of that, but real quick. Janice says, I tried sharing on the tube, but I'm unable to. I can share to Facebook, but not to the tube. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do, Janice. You wouldn't want to share to the tube because it's not like a social media network where other people are going to see it. So you would want to share this video to Facebook. It will bring people over to the tube to watch it if you share it. So we definitely encourage sharing. It helps us out a ton. Especially since we're trying to build our audience over here. Denise sent a super sticker.
Thank you.
That was the end of that chapter?
No,
okay.
But you said you had to say something.
Yeah, I just was thinking about the fact that it's often, there's this weird perception when people find out that you're autistic that we're somehow upset by that that's a bad thing or a negative thing. And we don't view it as a negative thing. It's not like, oh, we just found, I don't know. It's not a negative thing. And we don't see it as a negative thing. Actually, I think it's pretty freaking awesome personally. I may be biased, but so yeah, I just want to put that out there that, don't assume, even I've even met mothers of, autistic children who are nonverbal or who have, other issues they deal with on a day-to-day basis that Anna does not. And while they have, difficulty, like they have definitely hard times and it can be exhausting at times, I still think that many of them don't, necessarily view it as a negative thing. Like your child is who your child is. It's kind of like with her arthrogryposis. I think people had a really hard time understanding when Anna was a baby that I was not upset about her being born with arthrogryposis. I never thought how much I wished she hadn't been born with arthrogryposis. I never felt like it was a negative thing. I never felt like she would be better off if she had been born without arthrogryposis. Those thoughts never crossed my mind. She is who she is. She was born the way she was born. And my job as a parent is to give her the best life, the best care, and the most opportunity possible based on who she is and what she is capable of doing. And that's what I've always tried to do. It's never been a barrier.
I think the diagnoses are good because then it allows you to approach things differently instead of just seeing a problem or what's going on. Now so now there's ways that you can meet the different things that are coming up and getting through them. Because other people have gone through it, so there's information and out there.
Yeah. Nancy sent a super sticker.
Thank you.
Ruth
Thank you.
sent a super sticker.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. All right, go ahead, Anna.
Got two more little parts of this chapter left. Telling your school. I strongly recommend that you tell your school. Although I've been shocked by how little some school staff at mainstream schools know about autism, I have found that disclosing my autism has helped. Before I was diagnosed as autistic, I was always getting judged for not being more social and for not participating more in my class. Well, for me, it's kind of the opposite. I always participate in my class.
Marissa sent a super sticker and said, I love learning more and more about AMC and autism.
Thank you.
You. And you're welcome for learning more. For allowing me to let you learn more, even. My teachers would sometimes jump to conclusions to explain some of my behaviors. For example, one of the few times I got reprimanded was for small uniform infractions. One teacher in particular was obsessed with making sure that I had the top button of my shirt fastened. The problem was that the shirt was scratchy and rough and rubbed against my skin. The discomfort was so distracting that I had a hard time concentrating in my lessons.
You had a what going on over there?
What?
What was the last part of that sentence? I had a what?
It said, the discomfort was so distracting, I had a hard time concentrating in my lessons.
Have you ever experienced that where something on your clothes or something's bugging you and it's hard to sit still and focus because you just can't unfeel it?
Well, yes and no.
What
Probably because, well, I'd say yes because it sometimes happens to me, but not like
toe sock.
What?
Toe sock.
Toe sock.
That definitely does not bother me while I'm in class because.
But in life, though.
Well, that's because we take care of it first thing in the morning
Yeah.
for you.
You wouldn't let
So,
us move forward.
Tell anybody who doesn't know what toe sock is.
Well, toe sock is like, I'm not sure if many of you have had this, but when you put on your sock and it's all like, it's too far up.
Like we're the same.
Yeah, like, no, not the same. When the sock is like too far pulled up, it's either pulling your toe up or down. Toe sock is, when I say toe sock, Daddy fixes it, and what he does is he pulls the sock, and I say ready, and he pulls it, and then he says aim, and then I say fire, and he lets go of it, and that's like our little toe sock routine.
But it's because when your sock is pulling weirdly on your toes, you get very like weirded out about it. Like, I can't continue until this is fixed.
We need this dealt with.
Toe sock, right?
2 more little things,
Okay.
and I'll be done with the chapter.
All right.
It's a really long chapter.
It's okay.
Yeah, you're getting through it.
Unfortunately, this one teacher was relentless about enforcing the uniform code, and so I was always getting in trouble for having my top button undone. That's so weird. After I was diagnosed and I explained my sensory processing issues, my school became more flexible with the uniform code. I vividly recall one experience where my autism diagnosis would have come in really handy. I was at a small mainstream school with only 6 people in my class.
Oh, small class.
In my Montessori preschool, there was at least 10 people. At minimum 10 people, if not more. It says, speaking of 10, she said, we were in the last year of school before moving on to secondary school. I was 10. That year, our teacher chose The Jungle Book to end of year school play. Our class was given the biggest roles. It was our swan song, our final performance at the school. For the avoidance of doubt, I am a dreadful stage actress. Much to my dismay, I was given the role of Bagheera, the Black Panther. The role involved wearing a black furry onesie with the hood. Onesie with the hood, while prowling around the stage like a cat under beaming spotlights that generated more heat than the sun. It was
Anna.
torture.
Would you like a piece of bread and butter with your dinner?
Sure. She said it was torture. The furry onesie was so blazingly hot and itchy. It felt as if I was being roasted alive, while thousands of insects were crawling and burrowing beneath my skin.
Ew. That sounds horrible.
In the scene, yes, but not really. It says, I tried to explain my distress to the drama teacher, but she insisted that playing the part would be good for me. I was even accused of being melodramatic and of being a diva. Needless to say, I was a dreadful Bakira. I was too focused on my sensory pain and discomfort to put my heart and soul into my performance. A week before the performance, the headmistress called my mom to tell her that I wasn't taking the play seriously. It was going to ruin the production for everyone. My mom was told that either I had to drastically improve my performance or I'd be excluded from the play. I ended up preserving, but what I was supposed to have been a fun experience became a really traumatic one. I wasn't deliberately setting out to ruin the play. In reality, I was making an enormous effort despite being in a lot of pain and discomfort. I'd like to think that if my school had known I was autistic, they would have listened to me and been less judgmental and quick to think the worst of me. Telling your classmates. Telling your classmates that you're autistic can be daunting and frightening. For one thing, you really don't know how they're going to react. It could be that your classmates are really accepting, understanding, and supportive. Knowing that you're autistic may help them to understand you better and to clarify any misunderstandings that they may have had about the way you sometimes act or respond to certain situations.
Smelling, watch out. Over there. Come on. Go.
Oh, under? Okay. Under.
This is yours.
Oh, thank you.
Whoa, that's a bit.
Stick. Right.
It says, where was I? No, that's not what it says. I'm just trying to find where it was. Oh, it says, knowing that you're autistic may help them to understand you better. Maybe one of the people here watching is autistic.
Yeah.
Autistic. Or maybe multiple. So, it says, knowing that you're autistic may help them to understand you better and to clarify any misunderstandings that they may have had about the way you sometimes act or respond to certain situations. On the other hand, your classmates could react negatively and use your autism as another reason to tease or bully you. One autistic girl I know, whom I refer to as Leslie, gets very distressed when she is unable to sit in the same seat that she always sits in at lunchtime. Although she tried to explain this to her friends, they felt Leslie was being unreasonable and that one seat was as good as any other. Even Leslie struggled to make sense of why being unable to sit in her usual seat caused her to become so anxious, unsettled, and upset. In fact, Leslie found that she was unable to stop fixating on it for the rest of the day. It wasn't until Leslie was diagnosed as being autistic that she realized that sticking to a routine, in this case sitting in the same seat, was a characteristic of autism. When she explained this to her friends, they were able to understand why sitting in the same seat was important to Leslie. It had helped them know that Leslie had difficulty adjusting to a sudden change in her routine. A drawback of telling your classmates that you're autistic is that it can make you an easy target for teasing and bullying. Sadly, some kids aren't very nice. There will always be mean kids who will take advantage of classmates, whom they perceive as vulnerable and an easy target. We've all met them. The kid who likes building himself or herself by putting others down. The class bully who takes pleasure from causing misery and from abusing and traumatizing others.
How does that make you feel?
These types of kids are likely to use your autism as an ammunition against you.
Ammunition.
Ammunition?
Like they use it as something to try and hurt you with.
In all likelihood, these kids have already been unkind to you. They're the type of person who will call you derogatory names and who will circulate gossip and false rumors. I'd like to be able to say that your other classmates will stand up for you if they witness you being mistreated. Unfortunately, I know from experience that most bystanders don't get involved. Instead, they look the other way. If you believe that telling your classmates that you're autistic will make life more difficult for you at school, don't tell them. Strength in numbers.
But you know what? I taught you to stand up for yourself, right?
Yes.
And to advocate for yourself. So what would you do if you were in a setting with a peer group and someone was being mean to you and bullying you about either your arthrogryposis or your autism? How would you handle that situation?
Well, if I was in a classroom, I'd probably tell the teacher first. And then if she says something to the kid and he or she still does it, then I'd probably just say like, hey, look, I really don't like this, and I want you to know something about me. I'm autistic, so please don't be mean to me.
What if they still keep doing it?
They still keep doing it, I would just probably have to deal with it.
Oh.
Just ignore them. Focus on whatever you're doing.
But you know that sometimes the things that come out of people's mouths are just what?
Words.
Just words. They don't have to have any power. They don't have to make you feel any kind of way. You don't need to listen to them. You don't need to believe them. You don't need to acknowledge them. Just words. They could just as easily be saying,
What?
right?
Well, I mean, that kind of is the language of some weird green tribe that lives underground that me and Daddy made up earlier. Melody goats is what we call them. And they do speak that language.
All right, last section.
Let me see. Yep, last section and then chapter 4.
All right.
All right. Bring it on home.
Strength in numbers. What was the strength in numbers?
Read it and find out.
It says, I find it really liberating to be around other autistic girls. One of the many benefits of being friends with another autistic girl is that you can remove your mask and be yourself without fear of being judged or misunderstood. You can also be honest and open with each other about the difficulties and challenges of being autistic. We speak the same language. We share the same experience. We get each other in a way that neurotypicals never will. Unfortunately, I rarely meet other autistic girls. A few months ago, I met a 16-year-old autistic girl who had met another autistic girl who had never met another autistic girl. It may be that you're friends with lots of autistic girls, but it's more likely that you don't know many other autistic girls, especially if you go to a mainstream school. I think it's important to our self-identity and self-esteem to spend time with girls who are like us. One way of doing this is by joining a local social group for autistic girls. One may already exist. You or your parents may want to call from local autism charities to find out if there are any local groups in your area. If one doesn't exist and you think you could benefit from joining or creating a local autistic girls social group, ask your parents to help. It's easy to start a group on Facebook and to advertise on social media platforms such as Twitter. I recently visited a group of teen autistic girls in Croydon in South London. One of their parents reached out to me on Twitter. It was refreshing and liberating to spend time with girls like me. I find it fascinating to talk to autistic girls who have different intense interests from mine. You can learn a lot of fascinating information from them. Best of all, it's liberating to be around girls who see the real me and accept me for who I am. You deserve to be seen and accepted for who you are, too.
Bird Lady sent a super sticker.
Thank
You,
you.
I'm actually done with this chapter. I need to grab my horse, the mommy's horse.
You guys don't worry about Aaron's food. It's too hot for him.
Yes.
That's why I gave it to him first.
I have what we call a
I-
cat's tongue.
I know how to take care of my husband. He has to have it first so it can cool down.
Yes.
Karen sent a super sticker.
Thank you.
And let's see. What do you think about the idea of maybe like later this year or next year starting up some kind of group on our Mighty Network space for girls with autism, where you can have like some girls time, like some supervised, you guys can get into Zoom together or something and
That would be fun.
and interact and get to know each other and kind of support each other.
Compare notes.
Maybe
Yeah.
every Sunday.
Maybe not every Sunday, but maybe
Sunday.
periodically, a couple times a month or something. Would you want to do something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. You could, and then even AMCers. It could be AMCers too.
Maybe we can make both.
Mm-hmm.
One girls with autism and one with AMCers and one with both I could do too.
Okay, well, your food is done. So I'm gonna get that out and then pop mine in. So let's say goodnight to everyone because it's time to eat and go to bed. Thank you guys for being here, hanging out, listening to Anna read. We'll do this again. She's got a good chunk of the book left. So probably next week she'll do another chapter or so. And yeah.
Adios.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.